Hey everybody, it's Grim Reaper 2525. Just wanted to talk through this issue that a lot of people have been experiencing with the Call of Duty Modern Warfare, Warzone, multiplayer game in general. A lot of people's seen that they download updates, download the shaders, try to get in, it just crashes to the desktop. There's a lot of different websites, Reddit articles, YouTube videos, and stuff out there talking about this potential fix, that potential fix. Well, we've tried everything. We've tried everything from going into the regedit, trying to create a dump, and when the game crashes the desktop, see if we can capture it. With the Windows error reporting, did not create a dump file. We also tried to go in and go to your advanced system settings for your virtual memory. Under advanced settings, go to advanced, go to settings, go over to advanced, change your virtual memory, put a custom one, 16,000. Like, never worked, didn't help. So we decided that we'd try a combination of things, but really it boils down to one thing. This game itself, unlike Fortnite and many others, is all CPU intense, really. It doesn't use your graphics card. So if you're sitting there, you launch the game, you pull up Task Manager, and you're watching it, your GPU will hardly go up at all. You're looking at maybe average 6, 7%. However, your CPU could be 60, 70, 80, 90, 100%. So if you're launching the game and you see that you're crashing to the desktop, a lot of the time, I bet if you're watching this task manager, your CPU is pegged out at 100%. And once it gets to a point that it can't process anything else, it just closes the program, takes you right back to the desktop. So the reason for that is that this game, all the graphics mainly are going through your CPU. Unless you have a 4K monitor and you're utilizing some humongous frame resolution and all that, your GPU is not even going to be touched. So what happens is your CPU has to do all the encoding with the shaders and everything you download and everything. If it gets to a point that it can't do anymore, the program just basically crashes. Doesn't give you an error, doesn't throw any kind of message in the event log or anything like that. So a combination of things that we tried, and it seems like really one of them really works, but a lot of these other ones will help also bring down the CPU utilization. So what we'll do first is walk through some of these. First one is going into Blizzard, going into your settings. When you see click the X at the top of the window, exit BattleNet, when you see launch the game, exit BattleNet, that'll take this BattleNet out of the play, reduce the CPU. It does tend to use somewhere between 1 to 5% CPU utilization sometimes, and it could be running in the background when you play the game. That's CPU that you need for this game. Okay, so I always have it here where I exit. Next one is, as you got Modern Warfare selected here, go to Options, go down to Show in Explorer. So you go to Explorer, go into your Modern Warfare folder. As you scroll down, you'll find the Modern Warfare Launcher executable, and you'll find the Modern Warfare executable. Right click, go to Properties, go under the Compatibility tab and say Run this program as administrator. Repeat the process for Modern Warfare executable, compatibility, run as administrator. Now I'm showing you these based on someone else's computer where we was testing all this stuff. I don't have a problem with the game running on my system, so I don't have that stuff set, but it did help his system. The other thing is go in here to game settings. When you go into game settings, a lot of people have said the additional command line arguments, click it, put -D3, D11 or something like that. That to me, I don't think that really helps much because I think it's trying to say that it's going to use the DirectX 11, and I think that most Windows 10 systems are mandated to run with DirectX 12, and I think this game is as well. So those things are what you do prior to launching the game and looking at anything in the game. Once you go into the game, you have to really be cognizant of the fact that your monitor has a frame rate max itself combined with what your computer can actually output. So go into the game, launch it up. We'll give it a second here. Once you get the game up, you get to the main menu. Let it download all the shaders. A lot of people say, let it sit here for 10, 15 minutes, an hour, whatever the case may be. What you want to do is at least let the shaders download. The shaders are a way for the stored background, graphics, rendering, and all that to load faster as you're playing. So go to options, go over to graphics, scroll down to your custom frame rate setting. I have unlimited because I can handle it and I haven't had any crashing issues. But what you need to do in order to eliminate the crashing to the desktop is when you put it on custom, you're going to want to also do all the other where you reduce all of your texture resolutions, your texture filter, anisotropic, the particle quality, reduce all these to the very minimum. But the main one right here, what you want to really mess with in multiplayer, we were messing with the gameplay custom frame rate limit at around 60. Your menu, just sitting at the menu, is going to be capped at 60. Your out of focus custom frame rate is going to be 30%. So what you want to do is, best case scenario, start at 30, but bump it all the way down to 30. So just take it all the way down, okay? Start there. See if you can get the game up and just sit it there without crashing. The main thing that you want to do is when you actually get the game up, watch your CPU. See if it's pegging out after you've set the settings. See if it's still up here at 100%, 90%. The next thing is if it drops down and you're at like 60%, then start bumping it up. Try 50%, try 60%. Find a good setting for you that works with your CPU, the game running, and your monitor. The next piece that you really want to take into consideration is multiplayer campaign versus Warzone. There's a lot going on in the new Warzone, and you want to make sure that what you have set for multiplayer, for instance, with this custom frame rate, actually works for your Warzone. Doesn't necessarily mean that they both will. So you might have to tweak it down a little bit further. What we saw was that in multiplayer, he could play with about 60 frame rate. But when we got over to, and that put his CPU about 70%. When he got over to Warzone, though, with 60, man, it pegged out and it crashed again. So he had to bump it down to 30, and they played at 30. And he actually got through a full game, couple full games, without it crashing. So you just have to tweak it, play with it, see what happens. Now, one caveat to this is that there could be a situation where you set this, remember what your settings were for multiplayer campaign or Warzone, because the way this game works and all that is it potentially will not save this setting when you exit the game. I haven't figured that one out yet, but if I do, I'll open out another video. So, recap. Set your frame rate in game to custom. Set your frame rates down to 30. Work from there. Move it up incrementally till you get a good stable CPU. You want it to be somewhere between 80-90%. If you get above 90%, make sure that you're watching it very closely. Make sure that you have all other background programs shut down. You don't want Epic running. You don't want Discord could run if you use it. It's not that big of a deal. From what I can see, Discord typically only uses right around 1% of your CPU. Not that big of a deal. Origin, if you play Apex Legends. Steam, if you have Steam games, shut it all down. The only thing that you should have running is Modern Warfare. If you're streaming and you use Streamlabs OBS or whatever, you can see it uses 15% of your CPU, so that's going to be a bit much. You might not be able to stream. So keep in mind all these little things. Just watch that CPU, check the GPU. If it matches what I'm saying, great. Also, keep in mind, at least on my system, when I play it, I'm bumping up to about 10 gigs of memory using this game. So Hope it helps. Let me know. Just so you know, the person I was working with, he's running an i5 2400, I believe it is, with 3.2 gigahertz processor. His GPU that he's running is a NVIDIA GeForce GTX 2060, if I'm not mistaken. Um, Found that even though it says that that's the minimum system requirements that needed for this game, it still pegged out that CPU, and he needed to bump that frame rate down. So check it out, see if it helps. If it does, great. Leave some comments. Maybe others will see that it works or it doesn't work. Other than that, happy gaming, and I hope you enjoy it, and I hope this works for you. Thanks.